Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. UWI student accused of torturing ex-girlfriend scheduled to appear in court. The 20-year-old University of the West Indies student, who was charged after he allegedly held his ex-girlfriend captive while he tortured her for 3 days, had appeared in the St. Andrew Parish Court on Monday. Charged with assaulting, occasioning grievous bodily harm, is Matthew Hyde of a Bernard Avenue, Kingston address. Reports are that between Monday, February 6 and Thursday, February 9, Hyde allegedly held his girlfriend against her will in his room on a block at the George Ely Hall on the UW Mona campus, where he repeatedly beat her and burned her all over her body with a clothing iron. She was subsequently rescued and a report was made to the police. Hyde was arrested and charged. Police stated that as investigations into the incident continue, other charges against Hyde are being considered. RGD customers pepper sprayed by police. A policeman pepper sprayed a number of customers at the gates of the Registrar General's Department RGD offices in Twickenham Park, St. Catherine on Monday. The incident occurred amid a sick-out by RGD employees, which crippled the entity's operations across the island. It is understood that about 10:30 a.m., persons wishing to do business with the entity had gathered outside the locked gates of the RGD's Twickenham Park offices. A police pickup with 4 constables aboard approached, and the cops instructed the gathering of most women to clear the entrance for the vehicle to proceed inside. After complying with the orders of the police, several of the civilians were pepper sprayed by one of the cops, who were accused of being wicked and disrespectful to women. "Him could never have a mother," shouted one woman. The incident was captured on video by a reporter. RGD workers are restive over aspects of the public sector compensation review, which has also led to industrial action at other government agencies. The customers gathered outside the Twickenham Park offices on Monday said no one from the RGD had offered them an explanation for why the gates were locked.
Them have $9,500 in lesson for me. Me come out here Monday, me no get no answer. Me come out here Friday, them say system down. Me come out this morning. And see them call police and the police boy spray the pepper spray in my eye.
For what? What did it?
I just want to stand up. Right now, me stand up and the boy take out the pepper spray in my eye.
Which police? Show me.
See there. The one that was turning back. See there. That one there. That brown shirt.
Headline, and a wicked.
Residents mourn passing of 12-year-old boy who drowned, classmates being counseled. Residents of Musgrave Street in Brownstown, St. Anne, are in a somber mood yesterday morning following the drowning death of a 12-year-old in the community. The deceased has been identified as Nikolai Reed, a student of the Abercrombie High School in the parish. Reports are that around 2 p.m., the student was at home with his mother, who was washing clothes, when she reportedly asked him to catch water from an open tank in their yard. She theorized that he lost his balance and fell into the tank. A neighbor, Ralston Wallace, told reporters that despite multiple attempts from both him and other community members, they could not save Nikolai. He said the incident has left the community traumatized.
It was my daughter who ran come and said, "Daddy, there's a little boy in the tank. If I can come and save him, he's at the bottom of the tank." But all of my life, I did not know that tank was there so deep. So there's a little reveal in the tank where when I go there, his mother was standing over there on the reveal, crying for help, help, help. So when I took off my clothes and jumped over there, there's a 20 feet ladder was down there. The mother was pointing in directions where she last saw him, and she said she threw the cloth give him, but he did not catch it. So I go down there about 3 times, because even the last time I was trying to go down there with a hose in my mouth, trying to breathe into the hose, but it was so stifling. And several other people went down there afterward, about 2 other gentlemen, and they did not find him. People in the area, I was so scared and worried about what happened yesterday and what took place. So it traumatized a lot of people, and some of the neighbors are, surprised to know that the tank was so deep also, because this area have running water and the tank had never dry. So it never even get it clean, probably about 40, 50 years now.
Meanwhile, counseling is being provided to the classmates of the 12-year-old Nikolai Reed. Principal of the high school, Denville McHugh, told reporters that Reed was a 7th grade student at the institution. He noted that some of Reed's classmates were crying yesterday morning. Mr. McHugh said the school guidance counselor has begun offering grief counseling to the students, and it is likely that further counseling will come from the Education Ministry's regional office. Crime suspect Chukum killed by gunmen in Manchester. A man who was listed as suspect and person of interest in several murders, shootings and robberies committed in Manchester and St. Elizabeth was killed by gunmen in Old England, Manchester on Monday morning. Police identified the deceased as Aldo Scott, otherwise called Chukum, a notorious figure in South Central Jamaica who managed to elude the police on multiple occasions. He is one of 4 persons of interest for a whole heap of robberies and murders, and we have launched several operations in search of him. We wanted him for questioning, said a police source. The source said that about 1:30 a.m., residents of Old England heard loud explosions and called the police. The source said when a police team arrived at the scene, they identified the shooting victim as Scott. He was found lying on his back with gunshot wounds to the head in front of the Old England Postal Agency. Scott was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Cops identify mother-child killed in St. Anne. The police have identified the mother and daughter who were burned to death in a fire at their home in St. Anne on Sunday. The deceased are 26-year-old Shellen Hamilton and her 6-year-old daughter, Gabriella Lambert, both from Cardiff Hall, Runaway Bay in the parish. Up to late Monday afternoon, police and fire personnel were still probing the cause of the fire. Police reports are that Hamilton rented an apartment at the mentioned address and moved in with her daughter in the latter part of January 2023. Hamilton was reportedly experiencing domestic problems and was showing signs of depression. Police said around 10:35 a.m. on Sunday, Hamilton was assisted by her landlord from Linstead St. Catherine to her apartment. Shortly after, he took her suitcase to her apartment but realized the door was locked. While leaving, the police said one of the landlord's other tenants told him that smoke was coming from Hamilton's apartment. He forced open the door and saw thick smoke and fire coming from inside. He attempted to use a hose to extinguish the fire but was unable to do so. The police and fire department were called and the fire was put out by firefighters. The charred remains of the mother and daughter were later found inside the apartment. Government considering harsher penalties for persons who sexually abuse children. A bill to increase the penalties for persons who have committed sexual offences against women and children is before Parliament. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Strong made the revelation while speaking to reporters in Westmoreland on Friday, February 10. Citing the death of 9-year-old Nikita Noel of Kew District in Lucy, Hanover, who was reportedly sexually assaulted and killed on February 1, Dr. Strong said the government is working to introduce harsher penalties for those who commit such acts.
There's a legislation in the House, the title system right would deal with the abuse of children and violence against women, and that will in fact look at the penalties associated. That kind of activity can only be described as brutal. I went to visit the family. She's a lone daughter. It is difficult to comprehend how you can have a human being behave like that, quite frankly. He's still in custody while they do the post-mortem to get the required evidence to charge, because DNA evidence will be crucial in that, and the forensic lab is moving at a good clip, but it will take a little while to have all the bits and pieces together. But a case like that, you don't want to have any loopholes.
Manchester MP says the parish is facing a water crisis. Member of Parliament for Manchester North Western Michael Phillips says Manchester is experiencing a water crisis that is negatively impacting the parish's growth. Speaking at the opening ceremony for a water shop in Magoli on Friday, Mr. Phillips said only a small part of his constituency has access to pipe water. He said plans to construct a new facility for the Magoli High School has been delayed by the lack of portable water in the area.
Only 30% of Northwest Manchester has potable water. community of Comfort Hall and Evergreen, who has one of the largest water tables in the parish of Manchester, more than Porous, gets its water from St. Elizabeth. About 4 months going into 5 months now, we haven't had water down there. The pump at Union keep on breaking down. The other section of the constituency, the Mandeville area, will get water from Porous or from St. Elizabeth down in Pepper. Inconsistent. Manchester is in a crisis when it comes to water. The investment and the expansion of Manchester, the infrastructure is not keeping a pace with it. And this is not to blame one government or another, but Manchester on a whole, and I'm sure even those councillors who represent the Jamaica Labour Party will agree with me. Manchester has not kept a pace with the investment, with the expansion of just the parish itself and the town of Mandeville. We're supposed to get a new high school, and one of the hindrances for the construction of that high school is to have running water. And up to now, I can't even see it, even at the light at the end of the tunnel, where that running water will be coming from.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the